I'm Marcel Clark. This is Hustle and Grow. Today I have two distinguished guests in the beauty industry, Dawn Garrett and Tanya Tymus-Bellamy. What's up, ladies?
What's
Hey.
up? Hey.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. So look, let's start with the basics. Dawn, what brought you? Yeah, what brought you to the? What made you think about like? How did you get into the beauty industry? What made? What? How did you gravitate towards
Wow.
that?
Okay. Actually, I fell into the beauty industry. Short story. My mom would not pay to get my hair done as a kid. I got tired of looking busted. I like did a yearbook photo and it was totally busted. I said I'm not gonna look like that ever again. Started doing my own hair. Then my friends were like, "Oh, that looks cute," and that's how I started.
What?
Yeah,
Nice. That's
and
actually cool.
actually, I found out that I just was talented. So
Mhm.
it's just a natural talent. So sometimes God throws little monkey wrenches in your life,
Very true.
and they become a beautiful blossoming event. And
Ah,
it's taken me from there to seven figures.
okay.
God is
Tanya?
good
Right.
He is
all the
All
time.
the
all the
time.
time.
So for me, I guess I kind of have a similar but different. I think I graduated high school and my mom was like, "Okay, what are you gonna do? Because you say you don't want to go to school. You not gonna lay around here all summer." So I always say I feel like the beauty industry chose me. I went to hair school just to buy some time to really figure out what I really wanted to do. And literally from the moment I started doing it, I fell in love with it. And it seemed to have fallen back in love with me as well because I've been a busy stylist from day one. So.
And how
Yeah.
long have you been in the industry?
Oh, wow. I have been in it over 3 decades.
Whoa,
I'll put it like that.
veteran,
Right.
veteran. How about you?
We're not exposing that right now.
I know he came out the break with the age question.
I mean, really.
so let me think about this. So if I was starting out and if I had a young person starting out and she's looking at my show, what would be like the top two things you would tell her to do and focus on out the gate?
Focus on the business of beauty and focus on your craft. Those two are a very strong foundation because so many people try to just jump in off of their talent. Now, talent is important, but one thing I have learned over the years, if you don't understand the business, things change, trends change. So your talent is only going to take you but so far. So really knowing the business behind beauty
Mhm.
really makes the difference.
Okay. You want to add to that?
Yeah, I would actually agree with her. Understanding the business side
Okay.
of the industry, definitely knowing your numbers,
Hmm.
really big on that. And it's really best to create your own lane. So
Mhm.
to specialize is important.
Okay. And then you mentioned trends. So like in the beauty industry, how do you get in front of trends? Like I know, especially in the minority culture, everything is, we are really, really trendy. So like how do you guys like try to just stay in front of that and stay current, to keep the customer base?
I would say just really tapping into your creativity. I mean, you never know when you do something how it will be received. And it is kind of a hit or miss. You could do something that in your own space that takes hold across the country.
Hmm.
So literally just being present in your creativity, which can be tricky when you start getting into a lot of the business side of it because it's almost two different sides of the brain.
Hmm.
But just really staying tapped into that creative side, you always will stay ahead of the trends. And then obviously if you stay connected to your creativity, you can always go with the trends as well because you may not always be the person to start them, but actually just kind of add little pieces here and there and run with the trends that are out there and you will have success.
Ah,
Yeah, I think there's always something speaking to us
Hmm.
in terms of trends. And in addition to that, if you like fashion, if you look at New York Fashion Week, you'll see trends prior to the masses wearing them.
hmm.
So, if you watch New York Fashion Week, some of the things we're wearing now, the country stuff was out like a year ago,
Hmm.
Hmm.
but now it's with the masses. The masses are wearing it. So, I would say probably paying attention to the fashion industry and seeing how they're styling their
Mhm.
models, how they're styling their clothes, and you get a feeling for things. We
Yeah.
kind of know when things are ready to shift, and especially if you're listening to what people need.
Okay. Do you guys attend a lot of events, nationally, or do you just have any go-tos that you like
Not
appreciate?
I.
I would say certainly in my younger years, I was at everything. I mean, all across the country. I've even gone to things in London. Really trying, as I said, to learn my craft, study my craft. And I always found that to be a very unique way to stay in my creativity
Mhm.
because different people are doing different things and even not even always in your space, going to different states, going to different cities, going to different countries.
Mhm.
You can get inspiration from not only hair, but as she said, fashion and in art and all of the different things that really help you in your creativity to
Okay.
grow. Yeah.
Well, I think it's obvious that, you two are, women, you're minorities. I kind of call y'all double minorities, right? Because we're minorities, but
Yeah.
then you're female. How did what kind of challenges did you guys face in the industry, coming up? Like what do you have a challenge that you think like emerged amongst like the hardest while you've been doing business?
Well, I became an entrepreneur at 21. So I don't know if I even paid attention to challenges as I was just moving through. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Literally like learning from the experiences that I was having and learning from people around me and just really keeping my eyes and my ears open to everything.
mhm.
I have been doing this, like I said, over 3 decades. And if I had to go over my body of work, my challenge probably comes as most people challenges have come in 2020.
Mhm.
So in 2020, I was embarking on my 10th salon.
Mhm.
I had retired for 5 years, so I was stepping back into this space.
Mhm.
And I literally was like, oh, I can do this with my eyes closed. I got this. I've done 9. I have all this experience. And of course, no one knew that we would all be sitting on our couch in a pandemic.
That
And
pandemic.
I literally was like, whoa, I had to completely pivot and shift my business
Mhm.
model.
Okay.
So that literally of all of these years,
Yeah.
2020 was the year that I would feel was the most challenging for me in business.
That I think, as a entrepreneur, that's incredible that you brought that up because I've talked about that in the past, decades in the business, and the pandemic really separated the pros from
Mm-hmm.
those
100%.
amateurs.
Yes.
Like, you don't understand how tough it is when you run any organization and then you just have that dynamic change like that. Everything is shut down.
Mhm.
It's honestly it's scary, But experience. She's showing you the experience, just like a pilot when you jump on the plane. I don't want the rookie. I don't want the guy that's trying to figure it out. I want the captain that's been on the plane for 30 years doing this thing. It's the same thing. That's what she's saying. Like
Mhm.
experience over time, it truly does matter. It really does matter. You have anything to add to that?
I would say the only challenges I had, like Tanya, I started young, so at 24, and I did not have mentorship. I just
Mhm.
didn't have anyone. So a lot of the mistakes that I made was just me not knowing.
Mhm.
I just didn't know any better. But I just figured it all out over time.
Mhm.
So not really anything other than I would say I wish I had a mentor earlier on.
So you think mentorship is important?
I do think it's important
Why?
because it's like with anything in life. You should listen to those who've gone before you that have made mistakes and so that you can avoid making the same mistakes. Some of the mistakes that I made were so avoidable.
Mhm.
I just had no clue. And a lot of times especially in our community, people are gatekeepers. They don't like always want to share.
Uh-huh.
So, unless you pay them.
Right.
Right.
So I would have, I just wish I had did that earlier.
I love that
Yeah.
point that Dawn's bringing up. She's talking to you guys about mentorship, which is, something that, even I still seek it now from, my elders that have definitely, they may have retired, but they actually definitely have so much knowledge that you should tap into that. So just keep that in mind. If there's a mentor somewhere that you can kind of track down, yeah, you're going to have to work for free. Yeah, you're going to have to
Right.
you're going to have to break ground by doing your thing a certain way and getting involved on a level where you're just not going to get all the benefits up front. However, you're grabbing so much knowledge from that person that it's payment. So it matters. So make sure that you take that in mind. Keep that in mind because Dawn has gave you a valuable nugget of information. So, if you had an opportunity to look back at your young selves, what's the number one thing you'd have done differently?
Oh, I would have positioned my companies better so that they could have been acquired
Okay.
by like.
She's going deep.
You took the words out of my
She's
mouth.
killing it right now because she's
Right.
talking about
Yeah.
positioning her company for acquisition. So down the road, she's saying she would have built it where it's sellable.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely would have done that. But again, I just did not know.
Mhm.
And I learned later on. And I would say I never even thought I was capable of getting to seven figures. So that was one thing. And both Tanya and I, we both had Aveda salons, and I think those were our seven-figure salons. So, and Aveda does like a mentorship type program, I would say,
Okay.
so to speak. So that again shows you the importance of having someone else there that is over your shoulder. They actually showed me how to. That's how I learned about numbers and how to really focus more on my numbers, and that's how I was able to get to where I was. So I would have positioned myself a little different.
That's it. Aveda. So they
Product.
So it's a product.
It's a product brand.
It's a product brand.
And Tanya has way more information because she actually Tanya worked with Aveda.
I did.
Yeah.
Really?
So yeah.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
So we talked about this before. I actually had 4 7-figure salons, and all of them were Aveda salons. I think with them, they have cultivated a space where almost like a cult, honestly. So, but we would go to a lot of, and I'm sure you went to some of those yearly, so to speak, like expos, sort of. But it literally was just all of them. They were bringing speakers from all over the world, and a lot of them were not even beauty industry related. I can remember going to one of them, and the president of Harley Davidson spoke, and I was so inspired by his story and how he really created something totally different in the market space that he was in. So motorcycles were doing one thing, and he came out with this like radical look, this radical feel. So that's what I was also speaking of, like just finding creativity wherever you can find it and tapping into the knowledge that people have when they are creating. Tapping into that space can really take you places that you would not even imagine. I mean, obviously, I'm a young girl from Southeast DC. I've had 10 salons, 4 of which have been 7 figures. I didn't know if I imagined that for myself at all. I always believed in myself, but I don't know that I would always tell people I feel like my life became bigger than my dream.
That's beautiful.
That's amazing.
Hey, remember what they told you though about Aveda, because that sounds like a really good resource for individuals that are really trying to like jump in this kind of like excel. So catch that and make sure that you know that. So you're touching on something that I always like. I appreciate amongst all entrepreneurs. Talk to me about what you think is the number one attribute an entrepreneur needs to succeed.
Systems.
Okay.
Even if it's just 2 employees or 2,000 employees, you really need systems to survive. Honestly, that's what I have noticed with all my business models. The ones that people bought into the philosophy, the mission, the concept, and we had clear systems, have been the ones that have been the most successful.
Wow.
So
okay. And then how many salons do you own now?
Right now, I'm currently 1. When I was in Atlanta, that's when I had multiple locations. And like I said, I did retire, and I feel like The Godfather. I got out and they pulled me back in.
And it just pulled you back in.
But I'm very honored and grateful to be back in the space. Our industry has changed tremendously and not for the best.
Yeah.
So I do hope that I can be an example for young entrepreneurs. I really feel like our space is teaching individuality and too soon. Like people are coming out of hair school and want to jump right into their own business. And I actually met a young lady at the AT&T store the other day, and she was talking about she's about to get a suite, da da da. And as we're continuing the conversation, she never even been to school.
Oh wow.
Right, but she showed me her work, and the work did look good. But I'm like, where's your foundation? You really need to get, in some spaces where you can really learn. It goes back to people thinking that they can only stay, that if they have talent, that is enough. And it is not even half of enough.
Yeah.
I have had stylists that have been the most successful that were very punctual, very customer service driven, and could not do a lick of hair. Right.
100%.
But they understood the importance of customer service, being on time, and taking their business serious. So really learning the business of beauty. And they did amazing numbers. And we worked on their talent to get it there. But honestly, talent will only go but so far, because people would certainly get tired of your antics. If it's just about the talent, because there's tons of talented people out there. So having all of the things makes a huge difference.
You want to add to that?
No, I actually agree. I do think systems and organization are probably the top attributes. But of course, everyone knows that I believe in passive income, and standing behind this chair for 10, 20, 30 years is not the answer.
Okay.
And I find that most stylists struggle with learning how to get from behind the chair. There's no retirement plan. There's no 401k. So you have to learn how to put systems and organization in place, as well as figure out some passive income streams. Or I don't know what you're going to do.
So
there's no answer. A lot of them retire and get regular jobs, government, stuff like that.
And you actually just stole one of my questions. You beat me to it.
Who, me?
Yes, you. Because when I think about you, Dawn, I know that you do more than just beauty, right? So I mean, she's actually into real estate as well. Did you venture into that category because you wanted to have multiple streams of income? Like, is that what you're speaking to? Like, just not being based on the beauty industry, but actually, venturing out and having other ways to make your money and, make sure you can secure your space in your household. Is that what you're speaking to?
Yeah, but real estate was actually just something I loved.
Okay.
And since a kid, I've always been fascinated with. So I probably have more of a love for real estate than the beauty industry. But life happened, and hair pays a lot of money. You make a lot of money in the hair industry.
Yeah.
So I got trapped.
Yeah.
And it's been very hard to just get out of it, because it's at this point very easy.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you've been doing it for a while.
But it's just very easy
Right.
money at this point. But as you get older, carpal tunnel, arthritis, things happen, backs, knees, all types of stuff.
Yeah, because you're working.
And you do have to figure out another plan.
Okay. And just to close out what you were speaking to, Tanya, you said